Welcome back, investors, to Ticker Time News. I'm Adam, and we are here for another market close live stream, the After Hours show. Thank you for joining me. We've got a bunch to talk about. A bunch of earnings came out today. The Fed came out with an announcement today about tapering, and it's going to begin shortly. So we're going to dive into that a little deeper. We have a bunch of individual companies to talk about, but most importantly, what's on your mind? What questions do you have? Leave your ticker symbol and questions in the comments, and we'll go over it live during the show. So make sure to do that. And also, if you need a brokerage account for trading in the metaverse, I'm getting a lot of questions about where to purchase companies that are involved in the metaverse. There are links in the description of this video that send you to a couple different brokerage platforms if you need that to start trading and investing to start building your wealth. So make sure to look into that. Okay. First up, let's see this comment. SBEA, yesterday's hype stock tanked again today. Yes, it did. But I think Black Rifle Coffee has actual revenue and growth. Yeah, I do. Maybe a buy at $10. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull them up. Black Rifle Coffee Company, they have a big social media presence, and I think the company is going to do pretty good things. I actually think they might do a little bit better than Dutch Bros, and Dutch Bros has been performing pretty well. So we got SBEA as the ticker symbol for the SPAC, and that's Silverbox Engaged Merger Corp. They are bringing Black Rifle Coffee Company public. Now, here is the crazy little chart for these guys. So, of course, like most SPACs, it came in around $10 for the SPAC itself. I believe the PIPE investment is also around that $10 mark, but it shot up crazy yesterday, just really high again. A lot of these companies, I don't even know how to pick companies that are going to rocket, 60, 100, 200% in a day. It just makes no sense. But yes, it was down 8.7% today. It's flat, slightly up in after hours, so maybe this is maybe a floor for it. This is the 1 hour chart, and if I look here, just zooming in, it almost bounced off that 50-day moving average. But of course, I mean, the company this is brand new for the SPAC. I mean, the SPAC has been flat for months. So looking at this, I mean, it doesn't really mean anything right now because there's not a lot of trading history to go off of. But looking at where the two candle wicks came down and touched the bottom, it's right around $10.26. We had a candle here at about let's see, 3:30, and then there's a candle wick over here at 9:30 this morning. Both of them seem to be around that same area, so that could be a floor building, but there's not much history to go off of quite yet. So it's brand new. It's definitely a company to keep your eye on. So yeah. All right. Be smart, be first, or cheat. Whoever sold it $15.50 knows that third way. Yeah, that's funny. Yep, absolutely. Okay. One of the biggest news today, the markets got back to all-time highs today. No surprise there. Let me pull up the SPX, ticker symbol SPX, or you can use SPY, SPY, to look at the S&P 500 and see its performance. Another all-time high today. The Russell 2000 actually got to an all-time high today as well. So there you see it. This is a 1 hour chart. Recently, since, let's say, right here on October 29th and into November, it's been using that 21-day moving average, a simple moving average, as support that's been bouncing off of. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. All right, so it's the big day. At last, we are finally here. And the day everyone has been weirdly afraid of the past year, Taper Day. And I think that's because the last time we had tapering like this, there was a, quote, taper tantrum where the market just did not behave very well because of all the talk about tapering. I mean, how many times have we read about tapering, talked about tapering, debated about tapering and what it's going to do to the market? It has been the subject of consistent concern, but why? I can't for the life of me figure this out. It's not as if it would never come. It's not as if it would never happen in the absence of economic improvement, right? In fact, the market doesn't even seem to be afraid anymore, including this taper talk. It's not scared. Wall Street, the main indexes, and the Russell 2000 extended gains on taper day to close out at new record highs for the fourth consecutive time after the Fed said it would begin winding down its monthly asset purchases later this month, so in November. Meantime, policymakers gave no clue of the timeline for rate hikes, although I believe that to be maybe the middle of next year, like maybe September timeframe, August maybe. That could be a good time frame for rate hikes, but we'll have to wait and see on that. They didn't give any indications, but the NASDAQ rose 1.04% and it climbed to 15,812. The S&P rose 0.65% to 4661, and the Dow was up 0.29% and was higher at the close to 36,178. Also, economic data showed the U.S. private employment rose more than expected in October, so that's good. People are going back to work. That is always a good sign. On the corporate front, investors digested better than expected reports from Lyft, Capri Holdings, Devon Energy, and Mondelez. While earnings from Humana disappointed, shares of Activation Blizzard tumbled after the video game publisher, and we talked about this in yesterday's live stream as it came out, delayed the launch of two much-awaited titles as its co-leader, Jen O'Neill, decided to step down from her role. That's one thing that I missed yesterday when we were looking at what was going on with Activation Blizzard. Now, so far, 83% of the S&P 500 companies that have reported their quarterly earnings have beat market estimates. So that's a good sign. Now, I want to go a little bit deeper on what the Fed is doing, so we're all clear on this when we understand it. So the Federal Reserve will reduce its purchases of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities later this month as it eases off the economic gas pedal, we could call it. The central bank will reduce its purchase of treasury securities by $10 billion per month and mortgage-backed securities by $5 billion per month from its currently monthly rate of at least $80 billion for treasuries and about $40 billion for MBS. The Fed had boosted asset purchases at the onset of the pandemic to make sure that credit was readily available when the markets froze up, and that was back in March of 2020. Beginning in December, the Federal Open Market Committee will buy at least $60 billion per month of treasuries and at least $30 billion per month of MBS. The committee expects that it will take similar reductions each month, but it is prepared to adjust just in case the pace of purchases needs to change if warranted by economic outlook or changes to the economy. So they're still keeping an eye on it, and this is what their payment structure is going to look like going forward, and it could change if the economy changes. The federal fund rate target remains at 0 to 0.25%. That will stay at that rate until at least labor market conditions have reached level consistency with the committee's assessment of maximum employment. That's a key phrase that they keep using, maximum employment. And then, of course, their target for inflation at 2%. Inflation is still described as, quote, transitory, but, you know, what's transitory anymore? I guess you could put any definition on it that you wanted at this point with the way the Federal Reserve is using the word transitory. But supply and demand imbalances related to the pandemic and the reopening of the economy have contributed to sizable price increases in some sectors. Okay. So that's digging a little deeper on what the Federal Reserve and the central bank there are doing with slowing down, tapering, easing on their purchases. All right, I want to look at Bitcoin real quick. I had it up here just a minute ago. Ticker symbol BTC USD in Trading View, and you have a couple choices. I use Coinbase's data. And Bitcoin has been making a move here recently. Now, this is the 1 hour chart. Bitcoin is at 62,952, 54, 58, 60, so on. Okay, there is a wedge pattern forming here on Bitcoin. And you can see it as I scroll out here on the hourly chart. You have this purple line at the top, that's the resistance, and you have this purple line on the bottom, that is support. And you can see this wedge pattern or symmetrical triangle, they are converging. They at some point would meet and cross each other. That would be a nexus point. That's what I like to call, to, you know, bring it into the MCU and Loki, you know, a nexus being. So a nexus point, and at that point, something big happens. So, you know, just like in the Loki series, a nexus point creates a whole new reality, right? Well, a nexus point in a symmetrical triangle like this, well, it can create a dramatic move. And that's what I'm kind of expecting here for Bitcoin as the price tightens. And you can see it's kind of locked in right now. Yes, on the support purple line, but there's this black line that is running across here as well, and that's a trend line. And if I go out even further, you can see that trend line. There's several of them on this screen, but this gives you a little better bird's eye view of the price action for Bitcoin. And usually, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's not perfect, but a symmetrical triangle means once the price tightens and reaches that nexus point, then the price explodes and it either goes up or down. Now, by looking at where the equity or Bitcoin or crypto, where it's come from in the past, can give you a kind of clue on where it's going in the future. Usually, not 100% guaranteed, but usually when the tail of this is running up and it's in an uptrend, and we can clearly see an uptrend right here. Usually, once it reaches this nexus point, then it will continue its run higher. So this is almost like a consolidation period, or maybe a distribution type period where people are collecting and hoarding and holding on to their coins as they're purchasing them. They're building up their war chest, holding more coins. But that's what this is looking like to me. I mean, it looks like a perfect setup for this, for Bitcoin to continue its leg up. Now, if I scroll back in here to get a closer view on this, to see the recent price action here for Bitcoin, remember, each bar that you see here represents 1 hour. So if we go back to 11 o'clock right here, right where it bounced off the trend line right here, 10 and 11 o'clock on November 3rd, which is today, it started moving, making its way up again. It hit the top of this purple resistance line at the top, and it came back down. Well, it has now run into its 21-day moving average, and it's kind of like stuck right there on it. So the price for this, for Bitcoin, I think it's going to continue upwards. Where the breakout point is going to be on this, I don't know yet. But if we go back to the last time it touched this purple line, was on November 1st, right here about midnight Eastern time. And then again, the wick came down and touched it here November 1st, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. And it's been moving up ever since then. You can put a trend line from those 3 points to meet up here. So I think Bitcoin is getting ready to break out of this wedge pattern, symmetrical triangle pattern, and move higher. So to give you an example, let me pull up charge point real quick, CHPT, to give you an example of this wedge pattern, symmetrical triangle, and how it works out. Just real quick. All right, as this loads, I'm going to pull it in a little tighter. I should probably switch to the maybe I don't need to go to the day chart. Okay, this is charge point, okay? Now, there's 2 purple lines coming down over my head, and it's coming down to the right on the screen. They were in a wedge symmetrical triangle pattern also. Now, this was their nexus point. This is where they broke out. And usually what you see on the breakout is a big peak in volume. And it's kind of blocked off here. But there was a larger peak of volume right here. And then again, on the RSI down here too, it got to the point of almost oversold. And 70 and above on relative strength, that would be considered oversold. Now, charge point got up to a 68.68 on the relative strength index when it broke out. And you can see there, ever since then, charge point was, it was in this beautiful rally, and it rallied good. It did have this pullback here, but it has bounced off of its 50-day moving average, and it's still continuing up. It was up 2.2% today. But this is what a breakout looks like on this wedge pattern, symmetrical triangle pattern. It's a breakout, and it just runs. It's like pressure was building up in a pipeline somewhere, and then it just bursts and explodes and moves up. So this is what I'm thinking for Bitcoin right now. That's my thesis on what I think. Let's go look at Ethereum real quick. ETH USD. And you have got a couple options for where you get the data from. Okay, so here's Ethereum. Let it load for a quick second. Now, Ethereum, it was trading in its trend line here for about a week, and then it broke out of that. And since then, it has come back down. It's tested this trend line here, and it has bounced off of it. The most recent pullback, not counting any red for today, remember this is a 1-hour chart, it bounced off of its 50-day moving average. That is very bullish, and that's got some momentum behind it too. If you look at the RSI down here on the bottom, this purple line down here, it got oversold. It got to a 75 at the peak, and that peak was right up here. And it's sold off, and you can see the downtrend in that. Right now, it's going back up for the RSI. But there's a couple of red candles there for this afternoon. But I think Ethereum it's set to go. If we look here, the past performance over the past year, it's up now 1,045%. I did a live stream, not that long ago, a few days ago maybe, and this thing was at around 500% I'm sorry, my mistake. I just read that wrong. 526% year to date. The past year, it's up over 1,000%. All right, just got my wires crossed, and one of those nervous bumps in the road for these live streams that I think I'm getting better at, and the nerves aren't really bothering me too much anymore. But anyways, Ethereum is doing really well. You can see here at what is this? 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. Ethereum hit a brand new all-time high of 4670. That is excellent. It is doing really good right now. All right, so that's Ethereum. So if we looked at Bitcoin, we looked at Ethereum, let's talk about some of the earnings that came out this afternoon and today. First, I want to pull up Roku, ticker symbol ROKU, Roku. The company name and the ticker symbol are the same. They are down 8.5% in the after hours. And you can see, let me go to a day chart because that gives us a better understanding of what's happening here. All right. Now we're looking at a day chart. Let me extend it out so we can get 2021. All right. We are looking at 2021 for Roku. Now, Roku reported their Q3 21, and their earnings per share came in at 48 cents, which beat by 41 cents. So they came in nice on EPS. They had revenue of 680 million, which was a 5.5% year-over-year beat, but they missed estimates by 820,000. And that's why you're seeing this pullback plus the guidance as well. I haven't had time to dig into their earnings report yet because it came out after hours, but that's Roku. Let's hop over to Sunpower. And I do have a couple of these that I did do a little bit of research on. I want to go a little deeper on, but these next few I just want to look at real quick. So Sunpower, ticker symbol SPWR, and this is a solar company. Over the past year, you can see they had that high back in January, February timeframe, and then once they sold off to the lows in May, they've been moving sideways for most of the year. They had a nice little rally from about the beginning of October. I mean, all solar, all EVs, cloud computing, energy, they all had wonderful rallies in October. But they're down 7.5% in after hours after being up 1.1% during regular hours. But their Q3 21 EPS of 6 cents beat by 4 cents, but their revenues of 323.6 million was a 17.8% year-over-year beat, but they missed by $460,000. So you're seeing a pullback here. A lot of these companies are having problem with supply chain. Yes, I have Bed Bath & Beyond coming up in just a couple of moments. I did dig into them a bit deeper, so I've got quite a bit more to say about Bed Bath & Beyond. Let's look at skills real quick. Ticker symbol SKLZ. Now, I had skills in the Catalyst Watch this Sunday, and I said, watch out for volatility on this stock right here. They were up 7.3% during the day, but they're now down 6.4% in after hours. So skills reported their Q3 21 EPS of 13 cents, which beat by 27 cents. But revenue came in at 102.1 million, which was a 70.5% increase year over year, but they missed by $510,000. Are you starting to see a pattern where these companies are beating on earnings per share, but they're coming up short on actual revenue? I find this kind of interesting, and I think I'm getting a theory about why this is happening. Okay, next up, a company that I love, a company that I hold, Matterport, ticker symbol MTTR. Now, they reported their Q3 21 earnings after hours. Now, they had this really big explosive run up, and this is another example of this symmetrical triangle where things can just explode out of them. In not in phase, another company I love, but Matterport, I mean, they just really rocketed out of this chart pattern here. But they were down 1.3% during regular hours. They're down 8.3% in after hours. They're down to 21.61 a share right now. But their EPS was a loss of 6 cents, which beat by a penny. Their revenue of 27.6 million was a 10.3% year-over-year gain, but they missed estimates by $1.49 million. That's a pretty big miss. Now, Matterport did report total subscriber increase of 116% to 439,000 from a year ago. Paid subscribers rose 35% to 53,000 from a year ago. Subscription revenue growth of 36% to 16 million from a year ago. And annual recurring revenue grew $63 million. Now, it wasn't that long ago that Matterport changed their business model in a way that they are offering a freemium service where they have this free plan, but then they have different tiers of a subscription service. And I believe that is going to produce longer term recurring revenue for Matterport than just a one-time people buying their equipment and so forth. I also believe Matterport will play a big role in the metaverse. Yeah, the metaverse. I mean, Matterport takes a digital twin. They take a copy of a physical space, and their copy of that is in a digital space. That's perfect for the metaverse. So there's a lot of good things happening at the company. But they are down 8.3% in after hours. And honestly, whether they beat or not on earnings, with this big explosive move that they made, a significant pullback isn't that worrisome to me. And they did bounce off of a lower mark right here. But yeah, that's Matterport. I'm working on a video for Matterport. I think it's gonna be like Matterport in the metaverse. There's gonna be a connection between those two. Okay, another company real quick, and I'm getting to Bed Bath & Beyond, is Fastly. Now, that's a company that has been hit hard before. Their ticker symbol is FSLY. Now, Fastly reported their Q3 2021 earnings. They were up 8.1% during regular hours, and they were up 5% in after hours. This is a company, they're at $56 right now. Their all-time high is $122, and that was seen back during the big hype back here at the end of, let's see, for them, it would have been October. They missed on earnings and they dropped and lost half of their value, maybe even more, during that big fall right there. It was a huge fall. A lot of investors got burned with that. But some investors were able to hold on and at least recoup some of their loss if they held on through February and that rally in the market. But now, since reaching this low here in October, beginning of October, it's had a nice rally up to this point. Now, it's going to come up to its 200-day moving average, and that's going to provide a little bit of pressure to hold the stock down a bit. Now, they came in with EPS, or earnings per share, at a loss of 11 cents, but that beat estimates by 7 cents. Their revenue came in at 87 million, which was growth of 22.5% year over year, and that beat estimates by $3.26 million. So investors are being rewarded for holding on to them right now. Okay, now here is a nearly perfect example of where the power earnings gap, or PEG, trading strategy would have worked really well. Now, Camping World, that's who I'm talking about. This is a company that I actually like quite a lot, I should say. Their ticker symbol CWH. Now, they sell a lot of RVs, and the RV industry and the boating industry, they have a special place in my heart. I love both of those industries. I like to invest in those industries. But Camping World is on the retailer side of the equation for RVs. They are where customers go to actually buy the RVs. They are not the manufacturer of RVs. Now, they were up 11.2% during the day today. They're down just a 0.3% in after hours. But Camping World, it pinched a tent significantly higher today after reporting a robust bottom line beat for Q3. Shares of the recreational vehicle retailer, or RV, which sells RVs from Thor to Winnebago, which are both RV manufacturers that are public company. Thor is ticker symbol THO, and Winnebago is WGO. Now, Thor is a little better of a buy. The company is a little more financially stable than Winnebago is, even though I'm sure that Winnebago name might ring a bell and sound more familiar. But right after Camping World, I'm going to talk about BBBY, or Bed Bath & Beyond. They did tremendous. Okay. Back to Camping World here for just a moment. So Thor and Winnebago, and of course others that they do sell, have traded mostly sideways throughout the past 3 months, despite knockout quarters from Thor and Winnebago in September and October. Now, I think that despite Thor and Winnebago posting solid numbers in their latest quarterly earnings report, investors remain concerned that Camping World could have trouble securing enough inventory to meet elevated demand. For example, Thor commented that strong EV demand led to a continuation of historically low delivery or dealer inventory levels in August. People come and they buy in the springtime, and by the time you get to August, the dealers in the RV and boating industry are typically low on inventory, and then they have to restock, and those usually come in the fall. However, boosted by explosive growth in its used inventory, and this is the same for the boating industry, Camping World posted much better EPS than expected while still growing revenues by double digits in Q3. Camping World beat on earnings by 19 cents and grew revenues 14.2% year over year to $1.92 billion, also topping estimates. This quarter's main takeaway was that Camping World can grow despite supply chain constraints for its suppliers due to its used vehicle component, just as we have seen in the car dealership space and the boating industry. Those exposed to the used car market are thriving, such as AN and CarMax. CarMax ticker symbol is KMX. As new car manufacturers such as General Motors, ticker symbol GM, and Ford, ticker symbol F, have had to shut down production at times throughout the year due to parts and labor shortages. The bottom line for Camping World, with RV demand appearing to be at record highs as the pandemic remained and influenced many individuals to head outside, Camping World is primed to carry its Q3 momentum forward with its massive inventory of new and used recreational vehicles. The stock also trades at a nice valuation of 7.1x forward earnings, while providing investors with healthy dividend yield of 2.6%. When coupling this with Camping World shares repurchase program, the company is a solid choice for a buy and hold investor. That's what I do with Camping World. I buy when it's weak and I hold long term. Okay, BBBY, triple BY, Bed Bath and Beyond. Let's look at them. BBBY is the ticker symbol. Bed Bath and Beyond. Let's pull up the chart here. A rough go at it on the chart. Looks a little all over the place, but it was up 15.2% today, down 1.3% in after hours. Now, it ran into trouble when it hit its 200-day moving average, and that kind of put the brakes on the stock, causing it to stop. But it was up as much as, 17-20% during the day. Now, Bed Bath & Beyond, it was surging today after announcing some positive developments. The development is a welcome change after the home retailer giant reported an EPS misses in each of the past 2 quarters. And you can see that here on the chart with the red home plate kind of upside down here. And then again back here in June. That's why I love TradingView. All the information you need is right here in one place. Okay, back to Bed Bath & Beyond. Those reports undoubtedly made investors nervous about Bed Bath & Beyond's turnaround plan. However, last night's announcements were steps in a positive direction. Probably the biggest news was not Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond's announcement of a collaboration with Kroger, ticker symbol KR. Bed Bath & Beyond will list home and baby products for sale online through Kroger.com by early 2022. Bed Bath & Beyond is also planning a small-scale physical store pilot program in select Kroger stores. This collaboration will include popular items spanning various categories, from bedding and storage to baby furniture, all sourced from both Bed Bath & Beyond's exclusive owned brands as well as national brands. Bed Bath & Beyond also announced that it expects to complete its $1 billion, yes, $1 billion 3-year share repurchase plan by the end of fiscal year 21. By the end of this year, that 3-year plan to purchase $1 billion of share, they will have that done by the end of this year. That's going to provide big pressure on this stock to move up. Now, this is 2 years ahead of schedule. That's how good this company is doing. Currently, there is $400 million remaining under that $1 billion program, and the fiscal year ends in February of 28. Excuse me. I forgot to mention that earlier. It's not the end of this year, it's the end of their fiscal year. And their fiscal year ends at the end of February, which will be February the 28th, 2022. So they have to purchase that stock between now and February 28th of 2022. And that's going to leave a lot of stock to buy in a pretty short period of time. That should help support the stock price in the near term. The bottom line on Bed Bath & Beyond, the stock is surging on all these developments. I think Bed Bath & Beyond's status as a momentum stock is also helping today. And perhaps it's getting a short squeeze, could I say? Overall, I like these moves by Bed Bath & Beyond as it progresses through its transformation. What I like most is a greater focus on its higher margin owned brands, which I view as the best way to stave off online competition. The Kroger deal is also a sign that Bed Bath & Beyond is thinking outside the box, and that's what we want from companies we're investing in. Our main criticism of Bed Bath & Beyond is that it has not been good with its forecast. And if that's the only criticism, that's pretty darn good, which makes me a little nervous about holding the stock in the near term. But hey, you know what? If momentum investors want to get involved, then I applaud them. We need more people investing, and that's a good thing. All right. So that's my thoughts on Bed Bath & Beyond. I hope that is helpful, and I hope that answers your questions on them. All right. There's this lingering question I have in my mind that I just can't get rid of, and that is with Zillow. Ticker symbol Z. We've been talking about it a lot. The company has just been all over the place recently with this iBuyer and I don't know what to call it. I'm frustrated, but I'm also, I don't know. I just can't get the stock out of my mind. I don't know why. I said yesterday that maybe I thought I was a little too optimistic about the stock. Maybe I was a little too happy about the stock. I don't know what it is, but it's just on my mind. I can't get rid of it. I liked the company. Maybe that's what it is. Remove your emotions, Adam. Get them out of here. They don't belong in the stock market. All right, just a quick little note on Zillow here, and then I'll look at QuantumScape because they did report too. I do believe they're up about 6% or so in after hours. QuantumScape is Qualcomm. Excuse me, Qualcomm is up in after hours. So I'll look at them in just a quick moment. I just want to get this thought out of my head on Zillow so I don't forget about it. But here's an interesting note on Zillow. And this is, again, why Zillow? Kathy Wood's flagship ARK Innovation ETF, the ARK-K fund, has bought the dip and scooped up over 288,000 shares of Zillow, who's been struggling lately since it's cut its Zillow offers or the iBuying program. Now here's another conflict with it. On CNBC, Jim Cramer stated in a tweet, quote, where's that quote? Okay. Quote, I don't think I could ever own Zillow's stock again after listening to that, quote, miserable, arrogant, clueless conference call. That's what Jim Cramer had to say about Zillow. I don't know. But Kathy Wood's buying. Jim Cramer's selling. It's still on my mind. I don't know. Maybe buying the dip will work out on Zillow. Okay. I bought a lot of Sunpower. I get wrecked. Sunpower. I can't remember that. What? Oh yeah, SP. Yep. There's so many solar stocks right now. All right. Here's Sunpower's ticker right here. This is the 1-day chart. So you can see they had a nice, most solar, most EVs, energy, all had nice rallies in October. I hope you guys made a lot of money in October because it was a great month. Up 1.1% during the day, but crashing 10% in after hours. Just, oh yeah. Yes, you are already mentioned it. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. It's okay. You can see here when it was in this rally in October, it did kind of stalled out here at its 200-day moving average. So maybe this pullback, when it comes down, it's getting really close to that 200-day average. And that's a simple moving average. It's getting really close to that. We're only about maybe $1.10 away from where it is, or maybe about $1 away. So I'll watch. I'd watch that in the morning to see how that plays out, if it can stay above that 200-day moving average. Okay, let's go to Qualcomm. I'm just pulling up a note here on Qualcomm. All right. QCOM. Oh, get my cursor back over here. CQ. Got that backwards. QCOM. Okay, Qualcomm. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. All right, up 2.4% during the day, up 7% in after hours. Let's see here. The communications chipmaker forecast its current quarter earnings and sales to come in ahead of expectations, thanks to growing demand from makers of products like mobile phones and automobiles. Following the close, Qualcomm said that for its fiscal first quarter, it believes it will earn between $2.90 and $3.10 a share, excluding one-time items, on revenue in a range of $10 billion to $10.8 billion. Wall Street analysts had earlier forecast Qualcomm to earn $2.59 a share. So that's a nice bump, and 9.6 billion in revenue. So that's a good $1.2 billion bump right there, above estimates. Investors likely put their hopes in the possibility that Qualcomm's forecast may indicate an easing of the global supply chain shortages that have affected the semiconductor industry in particular this year. We've got a quote here from Qualcomm CEO, and it says, quote, "We are well positioned to continue to lead in mobile and enable the digital transformation of industries with our broad portfolio of relative technologies." Let's see here. All right, so that was a quote from the CEO. Another quote from the CEO. That Qualcomm's efforts attest to the success of our technology roadmap, meaning Qualcomm's technology roadmap, and revenue diversification strategy into areas such as cars and the Internet of Things. So IoT, Internet of Things. All right, so that's why Qualcomm is going up. And it did run here and bump into its 200-day moving average. That's that yellow line coming across the screen. Now it is slightly above it, but that is probably a road bump that slowed it down from going up anymore. All right, good. Let's see. Excuse me. I heard Qualcomm could be in metaverse industry. Yes, Qualcomm could be. Yep. If you still had some Zillow and I was down 20%, sell stat, or would you consider holding until next quarter, asking for a friend? Yeah. For Zillow, let's go back over there. Okay. Let's get some perspective here on Zillow, technically speaking. All right. Before we had the pandemic, you can see Zillow was a pretty choppy waters before the pandemic. We have 2019. All right. So from December 2018, there was a bottom. It rallied and it got up to $51 by July of 2019. Sharp sell-off by October, and then another rally into February, and then the big drop in March of 2020. And then that began a rally, a big rally. Now, if we go back before this drop, it had peaked in June of 2018, and it had been rallying. All right, so going public, a sell-off, 3 earning misses, 2016, but it was still rallying with those earnings misses. $15 stock. It rallied in 2017. It rallied 2018. Okay, and this peak here was at $63 to $64. And then really choppy. See, I think there might be a floor for Zillow right around the $65 mark. And I think that's why Zillow was bought up. And that's why Zillow is up 3.8% in after hours to $68. Just looking at it technically, this rally that it had all through 2017, 2018, that thing peaked right around $65. As a matter of fact, let's see here. The high for it right here was $65.30. And this is a daily chart. So if we go back to, went a little too far, to where it is right now, let me open this chart up a little bit. I'm going to go to a 1-hour view. All right. So if we look at the last 2 hours of trading here, there was a bottom, 63.13 and 63.39. I think that could be a floor for Zillow. $64. Just looking here at the chart. And that compares real nice to Zillow before the pandemic. So technically, that's what I think. Now, this iBuying program being shut down, I'm just so questionable about it. Look, Open Door has been doing the iBuyer thing for a longer term than Zillow has. And they got hit when Zillow came in and made that announcement. That's what you see, this big red candle here for Open Door, sending it down underneath its 200-day moving average. Conveniently, it went to that level in 2 days. Yeah, I think it is a floor, or at least support for Zillow right now. Let's see. Open Door dropped 17%. And now it's using its 200-day moving average as resistance. But Open Door seems to be able to handle buying homes and flipping them. It's just Zillow couldn't. And actually, Meet Kevin had a video that he did about Zillow. And I thought it was interesting. He talked about some of the, Zillow hiring people to be realtors and flip the houses and manage the houses and everything. And it was just too much because real estate is really complicated. So it's an interesting video if you want to watch another perspective on Zillow. But Open Door, it's been using its 200-day moving average as support on this nice rally right here, all the way since August. But now it's using its 200-day as resistance. And what about Redfin? Redfin is a company that uses Matterport technology for all of their 3D scanning, their virtual tours and whatnot. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Redfin, RDFN is their ticker symbol. Look at this thing. It's all over the place. All kinds of holes. Redfin had a nice rally into last year. You can see all my charting marks here. I was in Redfin last year, and then I sold out in February, and I haven't been back in yet because I wasn't sure if it was that it had found its bottom yet. But Redfin does the iBuyer too, and it seems like it's in a more stable place right now. XRP, yeah, is moving up in crypto. XRP is moving in crypto. Let's see. All right, here's XRP. This is a 1-hour chart. And look, I haven't looked at this in a while, but XRP was in this. And this is where this symmetrical triangle can do the opposite of what you think. Now, here was this symmetrical triangle that I had put on it, right? And I suspected that it would break out to the upside. It didn't. It broke to the downside. So this is where it can go the other way. Usually it doesn't, but I think what I did was I misread this tail. Now, like I said, with Bitcoin, when it has this tail, it's in an uptrend, then the symmetrical triangle or the wedge pattern, it will break to the upside. Well, there was this weird consolidation thing back here that I didn't account for, and that's what messed my theory up. But the one thing nice about it is we learn from our mistakes. Okay. XRP, it's using that 50-day moving average a bit. Kind of going below it a little bit here in October. But November, it's been on a nice run. But that matches with other crypto too. November is turning into be a good crypto. Crypto is having a good start in November. It's up 22% in the past week. It's up 7.3% right now today. What about Cardano? As far as crypto goes, I own Bitcoin, I own Ethereum, and I own a little bit of Cardano, and I've swing traded Doge and Shiba. November, best month for crypto. Yeah, I heard about that. All right, so Cardano is down to $2.07, but it's following, at least today, after this rally that it had right here earlier this morning. There seems to always be a rally early in the morning, like at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. But it's following its 21-day simple moving average since falling back down. Okay. You guys got questions? What do you want to talk about? You want to look at another ticker? Is there another company you want to look at? Let me know. I think I've talked about everything that I had on my notes. Let's see, what did good today? And what news do we have? Bed Bath & Beyond up there at 15.2%. Fat Brands up there at 15.8%. All right, what are you doing? What just happened? Okay, well, it doesn't like me right now. Let's see here. We got Fastly shares climb 8 minutes ago on strong revenue. We talked about Fastly. They also had good outlook. Skills fell. We talked about Skills. Roku, we talked about that. Qualcomm, we talked about. CRISPR Therapeutics updates timeline for key clinical programs. Yeah, I don't see any other news. Metaverse wise, we got Microsoft and Nvidia talking about Metaverse. Oh, Fisker did report earnings today too. CEO says that they're on track for first vehicle launch. Feels good about cash burn. Let me put their stock up here. Ticker symbol FSR for Fisker EV company. Oh, well, yeah, we also have. I should have talked about Sunrun. They have earnings coming up. Okay, so you can see just about any EV, not all of them, but a lot of EVs, most all solar, did excellent in October. Now, this is a 1-hour chart for Fisker, who reported their earnings. They reported earnings, a loss of 37 cents, and of course, no revenue because they have none. Let's see here. They did not give a date on when they are going to launch their first vehicle, but it should be at the end of 2022. Let's see, anything else that Fisker said? They feel good about their cash burn as they ramp up for the Ocean vehicle. CEO says we are spending the right amount of money. All right, nothing really major from Fisker. I wonder how Lucid is doing with these other earnings. Ticker symbol LCID. All right, and Lucid is about 12 days away from their earnings report. And you can see here, Lucid was also in this symmetrical triangle, or some say falling wedge. And they broke out to the upside on it. Let's see, they were up 4% today. They're almost down 1% in after hours. A lot of volume there. Look at that volume. That was over the weekend when they were making their first deliveries and tweeting about it. Okay. Well, that's all that I had to talk about today. So unless you guys, oh, Rivian IPO, yeah, that's right. I'm looking about that. Yeah, honestly, $25 for Lucid. I didn't think personally Lucid could go over 28. I thought $28 would have been on the high side for Lucid, and the darn thing went up to 41. Yeah. Yeah, don't feel bad. Yep, Rivian's IPO. I believe we can pull. Yeah, Rivian did file for their IPO. They wanted to do it for Thanksgiving. They're looking at about $60 billion for their IPO. It's going to be an expensive IPO. And it's going to have a lot of volume and a lot of trading. Remember when Coinbase went public earlier this year? The price shot up to $400 and some and then fell. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for the question and thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. That's what this live stream is for. This live stream is for you. So if you have a question, share your thoughts, share the ticker symbol, share your question. Seriously. Rivian plans to raise $8.4 billion in its IPO, selling 135 million shares at $57 to $62 per share, including stock options and restricted units. The implied valuation for Rivian is over $60 billion. In the filing, Rivian says it began making customer deliveries of its R1T pickup truck in September. The company produced 180 R1Ts and delivered 156 R1Ts by the end of October. Most of the deliveries so far have been to Rivian employees, but the company expects to ramp deliveries to third-party customers as the production rate accelerates. That's interesting right there. Their deliveries have been to employees. Rivian plans to launch and commence customer deliveries for its R1S SUV in December, following the completion of ongoing vehicle validation and testing. By the end of the year, the electric vehicle startup intends to produce approximately 1,200 R1Ts and 25 R1Ss and deliver approximately 1,000 R1Ts and 15 R1Ss. Rivian also outlined its ecosystem in advance of the IPO, which includes vehicle technology, the Rivian Cloud, product development, analytics, accessories, and services. The ecosystem is described as competitive in comparison to peers. Rivian estimates its total addressable market at $9 trillion with a T trillion dollars, and its serviceable addressable market at $1 trillion. That is interesting. 1 trillion. Yeah, Tesla is mentioned in the IPO by Rivian due to the trade secret lawsuit currently underway between the two companies. Amazon is big backer of Rivian, so is Ford. The sometimes edgy battle between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos will extend to a degree from the space race to electric vehicles. Okay, yep, we got that. Wow, look at BBY. Has it moved some more since we looked at it last? Up 8% in after hours. Wow. Look at that. It did. It did. Sunpower. Here's what I'd watch on Sunpower. It's down 10% in the after hours. Let's go to a one-day chart to get a better look at this. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, so let me just put a little circle here. Right now, Sunpower is down to this level right here. I'll make that red because they're down. All right, so this red circle, that's where Sunpower has fallen to. It's down 10.1% in after hours. Now, what we're looking for is support, right? A 200-day moving average, that could work as support. So if we extend that 200-day moving average out, it's probably around $28.50, give or take. That's about where the 200-day moving average will fall. And right now, Sunpower is down to $29.60. So it's really close. It's really close. That's the first thing I'd watch. Can it bounce off of the 200-day, or can the 200-day act as support to hold it from falling more? If it breaks through the 200-day moving average, then the next thing we have to look for is either the 50-day or a price line support. And the next area of support isn't too far off from where the 200-day moving average is. It's right here at about $27.25. So these are all really close to each other. So we have the 200-day moving average at about $28.50, and then we have price line support at $27.25. So we need to watch that area. If it falls further in the morning, can it hold up in between there? If not, and it breaks this 27.25, then watch the 50-day moving average, which is right around $25. That should definitely catch it, because that would be a pretty big drop. So if we look at where it is right now, if we go to the 200-day, that's another 4% drop. If we go to price support, that's another 8% drop. So I could see it falling in between this range right here. The 200-day support, and which is at $28.50, and this price support at $27.25, somewhere between there. I don't know that it's going to bounce and move back up because it just reported its earnings and it was a bit soft. So I'm not looking for a bounce, but I'm looking for the stock to stabilize and not fall or continue following. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? I don't expect a bounce, but I would expect a hold, something to hold it here between that area. You are welcome. That's what we're here for. Whatever your question is. All right. Well, if you guys have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll wrap the live stream up here. I talked about everything on my list for today. Let's just I'm just making sure there's no other questions. I'll plug in Bitcoin here to look at right quick before signing off. All right, so Bitcoin's in that wedge pattern right there. I expect to break out an all-time high for Bitcoin. And I do expect Bitcoin to run to 75,000 by the end of the year. All right, so that's Bitcoin. It's still in there. It would have to break out of this. I'm looking at probably somewhere around $63,500 before it breaks out to a new all-time high. And this dotted orange line up here, this would be a new all-time high area. So it's not far away. If I measure that from where it is right now to the new all-time high, that's only a 6% move. So it's not going to take much for it to get to a new all-time high. Okay. All right. Well, no other questions. So I'll wrap the live stream up here. Remember, the live stream every day at 5 p.m. Eastern, we go live. I usually have a monologue, talk about a few individual stocks, the market overall, and answer your questions. And that's the biggest thing I want to do. So if you're watching the replay of this live stream, just drop the ticker symbol in your question in the comments, and we'll go over it live during our show tomorrow. I do want to thank everybody for joining me. I greatly appreciate our time together. I love the conversation. I love answering your questions. So make sure to join me tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern for the After Hours show. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.